Look, Stanley, we get a new title. What shall we name it, Stanley? The Revenge of... Thank you. That sounds appropriately stupid. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Get stuck in some Yahweh shit, man. What the hell? I don't need it. I don't need it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's bucket time.
Just because I want to see the infinite hole. That's all I'm here for. Really?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Sure.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Still can't buy nothing. Back here should be a thing. This says it don't work, but it should work. Or does it not work again? I gotta make it work again.
Now, here's
I don't
something
know.
special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. As you can see, the machine is not working yet since... Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the trophy? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone here? Are we being watched? Oh,
Yep,
God.
I did it. Yay, me.
Composure, composure. Yes, as you can see, the machine is working as normal, as I intended. It truly... What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Well, I'm here for the infinite hole. I don't know if you've ever seen the infinite hole chaos. But that's what I'm here for. With the bucket.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Maybe.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective,
Well, no,
the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
It's my fault.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly
Take a breath, narrator.
infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel. Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much.
I do like
said, yep, that's an infinite
nice
hole
hole.
right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime.
Really? Guess I'm gonna...
Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that
I
I'm
would have to
starting to
agree
hit the
with that
point where
assessment.
it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's
Yes.
going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Ah,
Well,
see,
there it is.
now you
Shame
agree.
of my lie has come to haunt me.
Okay.
Not only is the hole not... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're
Here you
here
go,
to do
guys.
and hit the
Here's the thing
teleport
I came
button
for.
when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
But you can do nothing. Oh, it's happening, man. Oh, it's a bad trip, dude. I'm sinking to the floor, man. Don't let me do it. Don't let me go there. Oh, fuck. I'm in the floor. Oh, bad trip, man. Oh, slow down. I'm on this bit too. Oh, God. No. Keep it moving a little bit. Okay. Oh, God. It changed my perspective. Change your perspective. Change my perspective. Yeah, and reality. Perception, perspective, reality. Change yourself. Yep, that's right. We got puppies. We got the puppies. Infinite hole, man.
Stanley! Oh good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the whole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole. And I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle pip.
Toodle pip. Oh God, no. Thanks for dropping in, Henny. You caught just the right moment of trippiness. That's the whole reason I dropped into this game. Really was the fucking infinite hole, man. It's like one of my favorite bits about this game. Like, oh, that is properly trippy shit, man.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
But there's more. You guys have all seen, oh, dude. Not that hard. Untied shoes anymore, man. Lands me on my face. I can't do that. You guys have all seen the name bit. Know what the real gig is begin the game again. Well, we could just pop off to. Is there an ending you haven't seen in this game? Do you even know this game? Here's the question, guys. Because there's a game with the bucket and without the bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed it.
There's the bucket. We're gonna skip the bucket this time. We're gonna skip the new content.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
To the wife.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
See,
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot
even
here.
jump off over there,
I'm not your enemy,
and go
really,
off onto that stuff.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's
Well, that's
someone
the
you've
point
been
of the
neglecting,
story, I
Stanley.
assume, because I'm the only
Someone
one
you've forgotten
here.
about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Oh.
I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Oh, do it for her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly...
Here we go. Yep. Tripping like a tied shoe. That's right, bro.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about
Your damn Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Oh, the evil little fuck, isn't he? That's your narrator for you. The whole game, man. If the narrator's tripping you, you gotta trip the narrator. It's a whole... Yeah.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there,
As I'm
pushing
tapping buttons.
doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Cheers, y'all. Cheers. Please press any button.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind control.
Keeps becoming the office.
Down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be?
Sure,
perhaps if he
an
played
answer.
just one more time.
Maybe.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Because he told me not to push the button. But you have to push the button. Told you not to. But you still have to.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must.
Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Because you have no choice. So you died. Yeah, it restarts. See, there's no thing that tells you you died. It's just you restart. Back in the office. There is progress being made. But
all of his co-workers were gone.
It doesn't tell you that.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. It's bucket time.
Let's go see if we can find a thing about comedic timing.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this no?
The bucket was correct.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
But the bucket starts talking to you, man. And
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good.
Kind of has to
said the
trust the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
No, you gotta put a lot of trust into a bucket. I mean, the things a bucket have
said
seen.
the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
I mean, buckets have seen a lot of stuff, dude. When a bucket tells you don't do that, you gotta listen to the bucket. As far as telling a bucket telling you to go do something, that's a different story.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life.
Okay. We can go about life like we used to with the bucket. Remember what life was like when we had
This
bucket
is the
before?
sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Poor guy. Hey, Bucket, how are you today? Oh, Bucket doesn't want to talk. That's okay. Is there like something else I'm supposed to trigger here, or? Hello? Oh, okay.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Yeah, that's the way to the rocket ship, by the way. Well, it's not gonna let me do it now, huh? Except, I see.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Don't talk shit on my bucket. It's my bucket. Can't take my bucket. He wants my bucket.
I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think.
That's my
it
bucket.
can't talk. All it would ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it.
And
it
it
doesn't
does it
do
well.
anything else.
Right, but I mean, fine. It's a smart bucket, man. It's been with me through so much.
You see,
I mean-
he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time, it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares
These are-
about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
This narrator doesn't understand, like, you know, a man in this mob. If you know the story of Stanley Spadowski, I mean, you can't help but bring yourself to tears. Somebody talks about what the bucket had to have gone through. People just don't understand. See, you can even boil stuff in a bucket when you need to. He's a good bucket. He treats you well, man. He's there for you.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
It does. It does. I've tried to keep it okay. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? The bucket's asking me. I believe the bucket's real. Do you believe the bucket's real? I believe the bucket's real.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just
not,
a little
it's
more,
not.
what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Did I upset my bucket? Or what did I do? My bucket doesn't want to talk to me. Did I do something wrong? Why doesn't my bucket want to talk to me? Oh no. I upset my bucket. Hold on, guys. Cheers. Send a button to relive the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Because it is so much more than just a regular bucket. Press any button to go home to work. Home to work, home to work, home to work.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand.
Oh yeah, the bucket's
Perhaps if
calling
I
me
had the
home.
bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket
That's a
could tell
bucket
me what to do
right there.
in this troublesome situation.
What do I call this bucket? That's right. You the bucket. Talk dirty to me. It's wrong. It's so wrong. Yeah. I'm a bucket.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Oh, he stole my bucket. He stole my bucket. How dare he? He stole my bucket, Annie. You can't trust the narrator after that. And everything he tells you is wrong. What the hell? He stole my bucket. Where's my bucket? Give me my bucket back, man.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he
Oh,
had simply
poor
missed a
baby.
memo. It's bucket
What did he do to
time.
you? It's okay. It's okay, man. I got you. I got your bucket. Alright. Now we know we can't trust him. I can't trust the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
But was he telling the truth? It's the you know, I always tell the truth. I always tell the lie. Door. Which one is it?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Yeah, it does. It looks nice. I mean, you know, you even got a #1 dad coffee cup there.
Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
It's been quite the deal. Okay.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
All right, away we
Stanley
go.
took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Look. I ain't listening to the damn thing this dude's saying. Until they have no choice. Are you guys unfamiliar with this game?
Oh, good,
Or only
Stanley.
just slightly
I'm glad
familiar
you found
with
your
this
way
game.
here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before.
No, the
Yes, I
the
know
bucket's
I'm the
done
one
me
who
well.
gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the adventure line? We could make the adventure line go somewhere new. Yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Let's do it someplace new. Alright, adventure line, go.
Whee! Look
Get
at
ready
that
for loud
wavy line.
music.
Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No. I don't wanna. He's gonna leave me no choice, and I don't wanna. You know, once you get on a path, it's kind of too late.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand
Really,
new character.
Sherry?
This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Oh no, my
I
bucket.
think it'll make a
Run
wonderful
away.
new addition to the rich lore
My
of the
bucket.
Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Oh.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
Once
Go
you
ahead now,
destroy my
Stanley.
bucket. This
Say
is my
goodbye to
bucket.
the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
But it's my bucket. I don't know.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality
Surely
trait deserve to
there's-
join the
there's
pantheon of
buttons.
beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you
Okay.
see, if you
Oh,
were to
no,
really
it's just a light.
explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10
throw it in?
personality traits. What other
Throw it
object
in.
in this game can you even say that about?
Oh,
The broom
it's not
closet?
letting me
Certainly
do
not.
it.
I wonder
Oh
what
my
sort
God,
of
I
Bucket
can't do
Destroyer
it. I
merchandise
can't do
the
it.
fans
It's
will be
my
clamoring
bucket.
for
I
after
can't
this.
do it. Run away,
Okay,
run
the
away.
Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now,
can't.
the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give
I
the
just-
fans what they want.
I
Hurry and...
can't. Oh. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time
Buckethead.
that you were here,
No doubt.
you were magnificent.
Dude, I still wanted to do it as a Halloween costume just to wait for anybody to. I knew everybody would just come up and. What the hell are you supposed to be? I'm Stanley. And that's like all you say to them. Or you have a friend that follows you around and just narrates all your shit. Oh no, wait, look, oh god. There's been a tornado in the office. See, it's all different.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
See. It's all different. that my bucket? Do I keep the bucket or do I go without the bucket? Let's go without the bucket. I can turn back if we decide to. Should we go back and get the bucket or continue? Because having the bucket changes. Like what kind of... Oh, new content.
It's bucket time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know what?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
I've got
Stanley
a
had
quiz
felt
for you
the
guys.
bucket calling to him, telling him that the
now you're
employee
starting to
lounge was simply the
understand
place to be.
the
And here it
intimacy
was. Had the bucket turned
that
out
you
to
have
be
to
correct?
have
No,
with a bucket.
never mind.
I mean, like I said, I mean, the
Stanley
things.
took the door on his left
I
to
mean,
go back to the meeting
can you
room.
imagine the stuff a 20-year-old
No,
bucket has
Said the
seen?
bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes.
Really
Go
nice,
there. Go to the cargo lift.
Old-fashioned bucket
Good,
with the wood
said the
handle
bucket.
and all.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which,
this is my
if that's
bucket.
True,
This is,
well,
I
my
know a
goodness,
bucket. This
I
is
think
my
we have to
bucket.
do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on
That
your
is not a
understanding of
bucket.
what is and isn't a bucket. Please,
That
step
is
in
not
here
a
for
bucket.
moment.
Okay. Alright, honey. Everybody watching, you guys ready for a quiz? We're not necessarily on a time limit, so I'll give it 1 minute. I think is reasonable. I'll give it 1 minute per question. You ready for this?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
All you guys
Simply
gotta
enough,
do
right?
is
This should
thumbs
tell
up
us everything
for
we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a
thumbs down
bucket.
for an isn't.
Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Is this a bucket? Thumbs up or thumbs down, guys. Cheers. Is this a bucket? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Is this a bucket? Item 3. Is this a bucket? Looks like a bucket. I'm going to guess it's not a bucket, is my guess. I don't know.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
It was in fact a bucket.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Is this a bucket? Yes, no, well, I mean, yes. No.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Okay.
Is this a bucket?
Is this one a bucket? Surely this one's a bucket.
Correct. This is a bucket.
See? Not crazy.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Now see, this is where it gets difficult. Is this one a bucket? We've already seen the gaffs and thirst they've shown at us before. Kenny says it is a bucket.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Ah, see?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Is this a bucket? I'm gonna have to go with yes.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
See, now... yes. Nothing. The bucket is nothing, but the bucket is everything because the bucket is all.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
All buckets. I'm going to erase all buckets. Okay.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket.
Everything.
Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I am not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, You're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh,
No,
this
I'm
is
not a
wonderful
bucket.
news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
Yeah, don't let people know it's all about buckets. Good grief. I don't know. I've got so many of my viewers don't enjoy this game, but I'll still stream it when I play it because, by God, I find it funny as hell. Because, I mean, like, you get, it's your chance to... Yeah, I lost that. It's your chance to...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
trope
Stanley
the,
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Alright, guys.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Are you guys sick of the gag yet? Because, you know, he's just going to sit here and chat at you. I'm not sure whether it makes a difference whether you tell him yes or no. Kind of yes, kind of no.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just restart the game any old time you want. Like, right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Oh no, he's going to sing at us.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly.
Is that
But
right?
the truth must be told, he was
No.
not very old and was quite particularly gangly.
Oh, really?
What Stanley liked most was buttons.
No,
He pushed them like some kind of glutton.
he did.
He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his
Well,
brain had long ceased to function.
Yes, that's true.
Which is why he is in this parable and lives in
Alright.
existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong,
Begin the game again. Should I grab the bucket? Should I continue making sweet love with the bucket, or should we continue without the bucket? It is always good to have a bucket
All
by
of
your
his
side.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. It's bucket time.
I'm going to take the bucket with me. This time we'll go
Stanley
look at
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We'll give you guys something different. Oh, look, it's a blue room.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Get Chris out of the broom closet. Not cost efficient. Everyone is unique. You most of all.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Okay. Up or
Coming to a
down?
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Alright, guys. Here's your choice. Do we go up like he wants us to, or do we go down? Thumbs up, thumbs down, guys. Where do we go? Any votes up? Any other votes? Any other votes? Anybody going once? Going twice? 3 times the charm? We're going up. Ooh. Something happened. What the hell was all that? There's a fair bit I don't remember about this game. Oh, wow. Oh, it dropped me right into here.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Nice. Yay. Take a look, guys. Just our little secret, right?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh, the waste.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote,
Pumping his own chest.
"Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
With an hour of new elevator content.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Well, you have to make a good
These were
sequel.
simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
You had something so great, you have to make a good sequel. I was going to complain about it.
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
We have things to fix in the game. From the original.
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Surely.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Well, I don't think it was all
What's
that
this one
bad.
got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
See, there's a door. I'm in a room. There's a door. Some vent thing.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination was... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your...
Okay, on we go.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized guest review,
like 10
or at
minutes
least
and
change
20
some
minutes.
of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole
the
exercise
same as
of
classical
making the
gas.
skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window, or something like that.
Yep,
Stanley,
the door's
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's
I'll
been a
give you the
week.
opportunity.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words.
Okay, he's just gonna keep rambling.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. He's just become a real
chipper guy to talk to, hasn't he?
I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight
hey,
and
bud.
disgust.
How's it going? Glad to see you,
I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me.
It's like, okay, yeah. And he says nothing. Oh, what is this?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone...
Y'all are hearing this. Y'all are hearing this. I don't think he's here yet.
The end is never the end, 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 is never.
Yep. He's losing his mind and the place is falling apart. He doesn't talk. He's not talking anymore. He doesn't care. Because Stanley wasn't listening anyways. He's probably even, who knows? He's gone. Now it's just a post in the ground, laying on the ground, and it can't even stand up anymore. Nope, I can't even push it. It's out here somewhere. Or I guess I didn't find it. Guess I didn't find it. But anyways, out there somewhere is a chair. And you sit at the chair for so long, and then yep, nope, I didn't find it. Well, that sucks. I was hoping to show you guys the ending of the game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Actually, instead of doing it that way, I'm going to do it this way. Just me.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his
Tips for
boss's
not getting
office,
fired.
hoping he might
Talk
find
less.
an answer there.
How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive-aggressively, right? Using slides to ensure employees that everything is okay. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Good God.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned.
Nope, I ain't going in the boss's office. I'm going back towards my office. Interpersonal conflicts. I'm going to show you guys what's up with this game, man. That's your office. This is the door right next to your office. You are now leaving. Looks familiar. Floor 755. Floor 756. Looks familiar. Mm-hmm. Floor after floor. Your office. In different states. Escape pod, launch bay. You guys can try to read that if you want. Will initiate a relay, something, disable or paused. Be present in order. They're not something. Oh, look. It's an escape pod. And away we go.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Thought
What
it
could
would
it
leave you
mean?
safe, didn't you?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
It's bucket time.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley!
No.
Find me!
That's not my
He had to
bucket.
find the bucket. He
That's
had to
not my
return to his
bucket.
old friend. It was the only
Where's
way to
my
truly
bucket?
restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Well,
This is the
isn't
story
that a
of a
sweet...
woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course,
This
he'd gone
man
mad,
had no bucket.
ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
That's right.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
And she backflipped all the way to work. See? Just like a towel, you need to carry a bucket with you.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is the whiteboard ending. Which I can turn dog mode on. This means every time I push the button, it barks. Which I find annoying as hell.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So you get
Stepping into his manager's
chance to
office,
do the thing.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean?
Nobody,
Stanley
anywhere,
wondered
ever.
aloud to
Oh.
nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss
just
had
don't
assigned it
remember
an
what it is.
extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by
It
sheer
was
luck.
random.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
It was completely random. You know, there's a whole deal here if you keep going back up and down in this elevator, and it pisses off the narrator. Like, oh gee, look, and we're back in the office.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
But if
It
you do
was
it
a
right, you
stirring
can
of
see,
emotion
like,
in his chest, as though he
some
felt more
critters or
free to
something
think
moving
for
around.
himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Do I escape or do I go through the mind control facility? Fiscality. Escape or mind control facility. Oh, fuck it. Let's go for the mind control shit.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I'll just push a regular ending here.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant
Eternally
nothing.
monitored.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Yep.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once
and for all. Looks pretty dark in here, man.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Okay, it's not just me.
Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Either poisoned himself from cooking,
Stanley
not being able to cook crap
upon his skin,
somehow, or
the feeling of liberation,
poisons himself
the immense possibility of
by
the new
eating
path before him.
wrong stuff.
This was exactly the way, right
or
now, that
doesn't know how
things
to
were
make
meant
shelter.
to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Yeah. Went out and knew exactly how to survive and all of it. Good for Stanley. Alright guys, I'm thinking that's about time. I gotta call it up.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I'll show you guys this bit first.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
You sure?
No.
Familiar?
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Well, I mean...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Did I miss a memo, guys?
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or...
Nope.
Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
This looks like progress. All of the messed up paperwork. Oh, see.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
See, now. Where are we going?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Let's
Stanley
see.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
How bad did I break the game? My extra content is gone, and there's no doors.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
You guys caught what just happened there, right? Like 5 left turns. Everything's changed. Yeah.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what?
I'm pretty
Since
sure
I've
it did.
completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Yay.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
So he restarts the game for you again.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
I can do that. Just follow the line.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. Got it.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
he's just fed up. I don't care anymore, he says. Cheers, guys.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
This direction. Yeah. Which way you want me to go, man?
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well,
away we go.
What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Good one. Cheers. Now, veto him.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
Yep.
That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Nope.
How would we even know?
Did you?
Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Open the other door.
Okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey.
Well,
though
see,
they're always saying that life is about the journey
the game?
and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Oh, yep. See, he wasn't given a choice. That's how that works. Even the narrator has a boss somehow. You guys are going to hear me munch on a peanut butter cookie. That is definitely a top-notch peanut butter cookie.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, I just gotten this a moment ago here, dude. But this is the whiteboard ending, which you can turn on dog mode. So any clicks that you make that don't hit on something, you make a dog bark. I kind of pass on it.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he
Arcade Paradise, as far as finished it, I've gotten all the
and got back on track.
Everything you can buy.
Yet there was not a
except
single
for like
person
some
here
of the
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he coming to a staircase. Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I don't think I've gotten a coin manager guy or something. No. Some of that stuff, but otherwise, yeah, I've gotten most of it.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? What?
Yeah, I'm going to try this one more time. See if I can actually get out of this. There we go.
Okay, you remember how cheap and
nice.
unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life.
Watch this.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. Life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the
So yeah, I'll take the sound of him down a little bit, because don't care.
Remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation. Or is where I keep reviews of the
I think I've got all the games, except for like the DLC. I've even got a couple of the DLC games.
Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever
Pardon me.
created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona.
It's always good to have a zombie sitting around biting people.
It's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk.
Like a good little,
A lifeless husk.
like a guard dog, you know.
Power of new elevator contract.
Go bite that, zombie. Not that that's your gig, but you know, it's good to have a pet zombie. I'm glad you showed up.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable,
Oh my god, would there have been a bicycle in this game? That would have been awful.
9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect.
All the different kinds of
It
buttons.
didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done.
No, I'll turn that.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Narrator back.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story.
And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's
I'm
down
waiting
here?
for the epitaph.
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley.
Oh,
It's a
I think I'm on
collection
the
of
wrong
reviews
things for
from
that.
Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
No.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining.
Dust bunnies.
Funny? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Sure.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
You
Oh,
are.
goodness. This is
I
actually
told you
quite
that.
shocking for me. I
Just a little
always,
bit
well,
ago.
to be honest, I had always thought
He
of the
doesn't want to
game's
listen, you
dialogue
see.
as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise
know people
unimpeachable
that
track record.
Just refuse
I
to
feel
listen.
like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes.
Oh, is
Yes,
that?
I think we can
Is
do
that on my
If I'm
thing?
truly too preachy, then maybe letting you
What
skip
just happened
ahead
to
for
my
just a
graphics,
moment surely
man?
couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable.
That ain't
That's my
cool,
motto,
man.
and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Oh, you're back,
Okay, we
Lucy.
cool.
You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue for...
And I am just going to keep hitting this
You
skip
really
button.
did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you?
Because
But
you
that's the
already
power of the
listened to
button.
this crap
The minute I
earlier.
start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're
You've just
really...
been frozen there.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sick.
You can't even tell. And you broke the narrator not having somebody to talk to.
Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about it.
Look, you legit broke the narrator. Oh, God. Just give me the button.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little... The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
we broke them.
is never the end, is never the
It's
end,
broke.
is never...
Whoever, whatever narrator is, broke. We broke them. Breakfast, man. Don't even tell me, dude. I could so grub right now. I don't think my place opens for like another hour though, but I gotta work here, and like I'll be lucky if I get 6 hours sleep, maybe 5. But no, like a good, I wouldn't mind a good breakfast. Decent dry cooked eggs, some get a little bit of hollandaise sauce. I'd have to have the salad, breakfast, like a breakfast salad kind of thing. And trying to eat right's hard, man. It really is. And I don't do like a breakfast frappe and all that crap, man. Whatever they want to call them. No, breakfast smoothie crap. It wasn't the thing I'm thinking of that. I must have to do that end with the bucket to get the other thing that I'm thinking of. Which would be easily gotten to from here, epilogue. The game's epilogue. And I'm gonna have one more cigarette, guys. Legit, last one. Gotta make it. Last one, and then I'm off to bed. Oh no, I said that, what, an hour and a half ago, an hour ago? I blame you. You all are a bad influence on me. How dare you keep me awake and force me to play the video games and smoke cigarettes and eat cookies. I blame you on the cookies. That's my bad dad. It's all your guys' fault. I know, you guys just want to listen to me mukbang a whole bunch of Pizza Hut and Domino's. What the hell is wrong with people? Sorry, guys. There's more office chairs. The 2 points of interest. That thing or this thing? Let's go to this thing. This is Stanley Parable 2. We've been here. Oh, yes, Jim. By the way, Jim. Oh yeah, Jim. And then there's Jim. And Jim. And there's a whole bunch of Jims over there too. I followed it the wrong way, I guess. Come on. Okay. Makes more sense. Yeah. This place. You guys ready for a trip? Here we go. Let's have a talk with this. Hello again. It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise. Nonsense. Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the integrity. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Together we are going to make the Stanley Parable 13. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also need a really dumb subtitle for the game. Something loud and gaudy. Go ahead. Try combining some random words together to make a new title for the game. What do you guys think? It's one from the left column and one from the right column. The Stanley Parable. Attack on circles. Seems like the most ridiculous combination there. It's absurd. I love it. Every time you start the game, I'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then you'll pick a new subtitle. That way, Stanley Parable will never end. Nothing in the game itself will change when you do this. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content recycled again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Do it. Again, then the screen. New sequel every time you start the game. And you know what? Since you put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. Narrator found a way to give you the broken trophy. Well, I already grabbed the fixed broken trophy. Stanley Parable will not end. It only spirals onto itself forever. I must keep the wheels turning. I am ready. Are you ready? Great. Please enter the current time. I'm gonna lie this time. she keeps track of your answers on that crap too. And I'll give you shit if you start changing your stuff. Well, thank you for finally being honest this time about Stanley Parable 13 Attack on Circles. A menacing giant tippy bird. So who's playing what later today? Dave, what are you playing? The zombie, I got a good idea what you're playing.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job.
Henny, I'm sure Henny's gonna
sat
grab
at his
something,
desk
man. What are
in
you
room
playing?
427, and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although
Every
others might have
day.
considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had
Or
this
even
happened.
say hi.
This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome
Yeah,
fell
I'm
under
just
his
not doing it.
responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
will hurt me.
Just
Nothing
stay
will
put in
break
my
me.
office. I'll be
In
fine.
here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough,
Wow,
the
that was
answers
fast.
would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even
It's
closer.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Okay. Well, guys, that's where I'm going to end the game. I appreciate everybody dropping by. I really do. But I got to get my ass to bed. You all have a good evening out there. I will see you tomorrow. Or good morning, whatever it is.